Imagine a substance that possesses no intrinsic biological value. You cannot eat it. It makes for poor shelter, and it cannot keep you warm. Yet it is the singular obsession around which civilizations pivot, armies march and millions toil, acting as the invisible architecture of human trust in the ultimate arbiter of power. Why has this abstract concept, often manifested as cold metal or printed cotton, shaped empires, fueled the bloodiest of wars, and defined the limits of human ambition? To understand the origins of money, we must look past the coin and into the ledger, traveling back some 5,000 years to the fertile mud of ancient Mesopotamia, where the first currency was not gold but bureaucracy. Here in the temple complexes of Sumer, clay tablets recorded debts owed to the gods and the state, measuring value in the shekel, which was not originally a coin, but a specific weight of barley, roughly 180 grains, establishing the radical idea that disparate things, a cow, a day's labor, a plot of land, could be compared against a single, universal standard. While these early credit systems relied on complex state accounting, the physical coin, the hard token of portable wealth, emerged later, specifically in the kingdom of Lydia, modern-day Western Turkey, around the 7th century BCE, where King Alyattes and his son Croesus minted pellets of electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, stamped with the head of a roaring lion to guarantee their weight and purity, a technological leap that democratized trade by allowing strangers to transact without the need for complex credit checks or personal trust. This innovation spread like wildfire across the Mediterranean, most notably to Athens, where the silver tetradrachm, bearing the owl of Athena, became the dollar of the ancient world, funding the construction of the Parthenon and the fleets that held back the Persian Empire, proving that sound money was as crucial to statecraft as iron and blood. Yet the very power to create money tempted the powerful to corrupt it, a lesson learned harshly by the Roman Empire, where emperors like Nero began the treacherous practice of debasement, slowly removing the silver content from the denarius to fund lavish projects and endless wars, leading to hyperinflation that shattered the economy and contributed to the eventual collapse of Western Rome, leaving a warning echoing through history that the value of money is inextricably linked to the integrity of the state. While Europe fractured into feudal barter economies, a different revolution was taking place in the East during the Tang and Song dynasties of China, where merchants, weary of carrying heavy strings of copper cash, deposited their coins in exchange for paper receipts known as jiaozi or flying cash, the world's first paper money, a system that shocked Marco Polo centuries later when he witnessed the Great Khan turning mulberry bark into boundless wealth, enforced by the terrifying decree that refusal to accept the emperor's paper was punishable by death. From a scientific perspective, the global obsession with gold and silver was not accidental, for these noble metals possess a unique chemical stability. Gold is chemically boring, refusing to react with oxygen or rust, meaning a coin minted by Alexander the Great remains as brilliant today as the day it was struck, offering a physical simulation of immortality that naturally appealed to the human desire for eternal value. The story of money turned violent and global in the 16th century when Spanish conquistadors stumbled upon Potosí in modern-day Bolivia, a mountain of silver so vast it would alter the global climate of trade. Here, under the brutal Meta system, indigenous laborers and African slaves worked in toxic darkness to extract the ore that would be minted into the piece of eight, the first truly global currency, used from the taverns of Boston to the tea houses of Beijing. This influx of silver greased the wheels of the first age of globalization, but also caused the price revolution, a wave of inflation that destabilized European monarchies and fueled the rise of a new power, the merchant banker. In the Italian city-states of the Renaissance, families like the Medici didn't just store money, they invented modern banking by trading debt and utilizing double-entry bookkeeping, transforming money from a physical object into a system of information and intangible credit, sitting on bancas or benches to transact, which gave us the modern word bank. As the focus shifted from metal to credit, the 17th century saw the birth of central banking with the founding of the Bank of England in 1694, originally established to fund a war against France, creating a model where national debt was monetized into banknotes, fundamentally shifting money from being a store of value to a claim on the future tax revenues of the state. The industrial age demanded stability, leading to the gold standard in the 19th century, a system where every paper note was theoretically backed by metal in a vault, imposing a golden fetter that kept inflation low but made governments rigid, preventing them from printing money to stimulate economies during panic. This rigidity collapsed under the weight of the world wars, leading to the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement, which pegged global currencies to the US dollar, which was in turn pegged to gold, until the system became untenable. In 1971, President Richard Nixon severed this final link, ushering in the era of fiat currency, money that has value solely because the government says it does and, more importantly, because we collectively agree to believe it does. This shift unleashed an explosion of credit and financial complexity, transforming the global economy into a high-speed digital network where trillions of dollars move across the globe in milliseconds via fiber optic cables, existing not as gold bars or even paper notes, but as binary code on bank servers, decoupling value from physical reality entirely. Yet the human cost remains tangible, from the debt crises that cripple developing nations to the 2008 financial meltdown that evaporated the savings of the working class. The abstraction of money has frequently obscured the very real labor and resources it is supposed to represent. Today we stand at another crossroads with the rise of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, a technological rebellion that seeks to separate money from the state entirely, utilizing a distributed ledger, called the blockchain, to return to a form of digital gold, mathematically scarce, censorship-resistant, and trustless, challenging the monopoly that central banks have held for centuries. Whether carved in stone, stamped in gold, printed on cotton, or coded into a blockchain, money remains the ultimate social construct, a shared fiction that allows billions of strangers to cooperate. It is a measure of our trust in one another, and in the stability of our future. As we move toward a cashless horizon, the question remains, if money is just a story we tell each other, what happens when the story changes? Or worse, when we stop believing in it? Ultimately, money is a mirror of the society that mints it, reflecting our values, our technologies, and our capacity for both creation and destruction. Visual 20. If you love exploring the hidden forces that shaped our world, subscribe for more stories like this.